This is PENSDOWN, where we sit with journalists, practicing or otherwise, and we get to understand the behind the scenes issues that impacted their lives in the line of duty. I have been joined today by a colleague. He's a journalist who has been in the media for almost 2 decades, during which he has made print journalism his forte. He is a correspondent for the Graphic Communications Group in the Ashanti region. He holds a master's degree in communication studies from the University of Cape Coast, as well as a bachelor's and diploma in communication studies from the Ghana Institute of Journalism. His reporting interest is in environment and crime, with occasional stopovers in political reporting. At the Maiden Ashanti Regional GJA Awards held in 2019, he picked up 2 awards in education and entertainment and was the first runner-up in sports and court reporting. He is a member of the Ghana Journalists Association, the Institute of Public Relations Ghana, and the Ghana Agriculture and Rural Development Journalists Association. Reading, football, traveling, and watching movies sum up his hobbies. I have been joined today by Kwadwo Baffoe Donkor. Thanks for joining me on PENSDOWN, sir.
Thank you, Ghost. Thank you.
If you could speak up a bit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. You have been reporting for the Graphic Communications Group, or rather, you have been in print journalism for almost 2 decades. What has kept you in journalism all these years?
Do I even know? Well, I would say, initially when I started journalism, I said to myself, I started with a diploma, and I said, okay, by the time I get my first degree, I'm a move out.
Okay.
Then before I realized I'm clocking 20 years.
Wow.
It's the passion, then the result that you get at times. That's the driving motivation. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. A lot of trained, qualified journalists are abandoning the profession. Some are going into public relations and various other sectors of the economy. What do you think is causing this kind of exodus?
I would say, journalism is one profession that gives you a lot of fame, but doesn't give you of course, if you want to depend on it solely, it doesn't give you that financial reward that you need to. Looking at our current economic situation.
Yeah.
So a lot of people find it more rewarding to branch into other sectors than remaining in the field of training journalism, especially if your intention is to get like money from it. Journalism financially it doesn't pay, but it gives you a lot of leverage that money cannot give you.
But I want to find out from you personally, would you say journalism pays?
I would say yes and no. Yes, in a sense that, of course, if you mean financial like reward, for instance, it may not come like, of course, if you depend on your salary alone, it might not be. Of course, nobody survives on their salary in Ghana these days, and they have to do other side job to be able to at least keep up, maintain your business.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are other things that you get, especially, for instance, you may have this foreign, how do you call them, like foreign media houses.
Okay.
You get grant to do stories. That means if one grant can get you more than your annual salary for just one story. So from there, yeah, of course, you may make money from it. The no has already been answered by depending on the lots of media houses do not pay their workers well. That's one thing. Lots of them don't pay their workers well, especially the private media. Most of them don't pay their workers well.
Why did you choose journalism? You could have done any other thing. Why did you choose journalism?
I would say my father had an influence in me.
Okay.
My father was a trained journalist.
Okay.
He ran the longest column Ghana has ever known. I mean, if you've ever read the Baffoe column, that was my dad in the Spectator. And actually, when I was growing up, my intention was to become a pilot. And along the line, I don't know where that dream went. Before I realized I was in the journalism field, and I've been in there. And a lot, and aside my dad, there are other people who also influenced my decision to join journalism. The likes of Kwadwo. I was an
Okay.
avid reader of the column, Words of a Patriot. It was one of my favorite columns that I was reading, and those things made me to also become a journalist.
What would you say has been the most difficult assignment in your career? If not one, we may want to hear about three of them.
We have, I don't remember the year, but it's been more than, yes, it's been more than 10 years now, if not 20. There was an incident in Donkor,
Okay.
these illegal, no, not illegal miners, small scale miners.
Okay.
They got trapped in the pit. I think about 10 of them or so. And I think we went there on the third or the fourth day when the body were being dug out.
Okay.
Seeing your fellow human beings trapped in mud. I mean, you could smell the stench from the decomposing bodies. And even accessing the area was a difficulty because you have to cross a river. And you went on a canoe with that life jacket, but then it was during the rainy season that the river was up. And when we were returning, something, would I say, a funny incident happened. Some of the locals were also trying to cross the river. Then some were saying that the river was too high for them to cross. And I said, oh, but this is a small thing. And the canoe that we trying to cross the river, one guy said, because I said that thing, he was not going to join me, join us in the canoe because when there's position, then those is they got angry and overturned the canoe, then God.
Wow.
That was when the other one was in the Mansour area, another mining site.
Okay.
There were foreigners. I don't know, one of the Scandinavian countries. I don't remember exactly the country where they came from, but they were mining in the town there. Apparently, they were supposed to be doing not surface mining, but like underground mining, like something like large scale mining places. They were not doing exactly that, but what they were doing could not be classified as small scale mining. Also, it was in between, and they had a problem with the locals. The locals were, for want of a better word, encroaching on their concession. They were trying to also mine on it, and they were not giving them medicine. Then one day, I think they vandalized the whole place, broke into their this, and there was a confrontation between them. And these foreigners have to run away, leave their things there. And actually, when we were going, the person who took us there didn't give us enough briefing. And we had the impression that like they were having a problem. They wanted to just go and have a look at what happened. And this thing should have even given us an indication. But when we were going, the guy didn't go with us. And he took somebody who knew the area quite well to lead us. And when we were going to the site, the guy said because he was a staff at the mining site, he also didn't follow us. So it was just we, the journalists, who went to just to have a look at the place, see what happened there. Then we were going to exactly where the mining was taking place. We initially went to the office.
Yeah.
The office. Then we were going to the mining site just to have a look at it. And some of the locals were also mining. They when they saw, they thought it was security men, so they ran away. By the time we returned to the by the time we returned to their offices again, their site, almost half of the town was there. The assemblymen, the MP, and everybody were like, how can we come to their town without even going to the chief palace to inform them that we were coming to do such a story there? And we told them we were coming to do just have a look at what happened, and we didn't need any uh, permission of anybody.
Mm.
They said no. The MP had to come in to talk to them before, even before then, they said we have to go to the chief palace to tell the chief what we came to do and the information we were taking away before they were allowed. Had it not been for the MP, I don't know what would have happened to us. In the way he saved us. Those two, yeah, those who will be, I guess, well, some of the challenging assignments I never covered.
You have said earlier on that your father and the legendary Kojo Yanka are two of the people that had an influence on you, which informed the kind of direction you took as far as career is concerned. Were they also responsible for your eventual landing in print journalism? There is print, there is online, there is electronic. Your choice of print journalism, was it because of them as well?
Personally, I like anonymity.
Mm.
And the print gives you that. I've had a stint with BBC. That was for my internship. Usually, when we're in school, we do our time. It was 3 months, but you have to rotate. You will not be at one media house for all the 3 months.
Yes.
When I went to BBC, I was supposed to do 1 month after my internship. I think by then we were on holiday. They still maintained me to be coming till I stopped myself. Yeah, they still maintained me. And I had a very good team to work with. And no, the reception again during your internship also motivates you on whether to choose that career path. Personally, because I like anonymity, I wanted to be in the print, and it gives you that leverage. And people hear of your name, but they may never know you. You go to places. If you don't mention your name, that's why those who don't read, if they don't read the paper, they will never know who you are. And
Yeah.
you do your work and go away.
How has social media changed the face of journalism generally?
Now, with social media now, especially with citizen journalism, we having a lot of challenges, but it's a way it keeps you on your toes, because if you go, you can almost sleep on stories. If you go for an event and you think, oh, you are the only person there who was at the program and you want to sleep on it, you realize it's on social media, and the way they bastardize the stories. At the end of the day, you send your story to your person, and they'll be asking, were you at the same event, because we read this on social media. So they're making the work a bit difficult for the professionals, but anyway, they also help. There are times you may not hear of the incident before you realize it on the social media, so you follow up on it, and it's like the deep and the devil and the deep blue sea. Which one you select? Yeah. At least is the bad and the ugly or everything fine. Yeah. But in a way, it's changing the face of the media industry. It's changing the face of the media industry. And even with the traditional media houses, you also have to have a social media handle so that you can also keep up with the competition.
Yeah. If we are to go back into time 25 years, are you still going to choose journalism, and will it still be print?
25 years back, right? You know, those days when you were growing up, as I said, the becoming a pilot was one of something I wanted to do. And it's what I didn't try it, but I tried getting to the army, but because in Ghana, that's the easiest way of becoming a pilot
Yeah.
because you have money to go and do the commercial training.
Yeah.
I don't know what again. Maybe if I stop journalism, maybe I might also join my friends who have now shifted to the public relations side. Yeah.
How long do you want to take journalism? Are you going to be here till you retire, or there is an end game in place?
In place. Um, you know, um, journalism is like that. Even if you stop, you can't stop. Like, I mean, if you stop becoming a journalist and you go into another field, because of the, I don't, the passion with which you've been in the industry, I mean, journalism is like that. There's no rest for you. You can't say you close from work, so you are not working. Then if something happens because you close, it's not like other job that like just 5. When it's 5, everything ceases. If you want something, you come the next day. But journalism is not like that. Even when you are enjoying yourself, maybe having fun, you are still on the lookout for news.
Yeah.
Something can happen, and you can't say you are not on you're not on duty, so you're not going to report on it. So that's journalism. It becomes part and parcel of it. It becomes your life. You live with it, maybe so. My dad, well, he died from 10, 13 years ago. But even then, though he was on retirement, the man was still writing. He couldn't stop. He was still writing. But it becomes like
A second self.
yes, it becomes a habit or a second nature.
Mm. Mm.
So now I can't say,
Mm.
but as they say, never say never.
That's right. Something is happening in the media. There is the increasing political ownership of media platforms, radio, television, especially. And of course, I'm sure newspaper or online platforms are also having their fair share. We are a democracy we are trying to nurture. Is this kind of practice a reason for us to be worried as a democracy?
No, because we are still a nascent democracy, I think we should be worried about it. Even in the US, everybody knows CNN, where they lean towards and the force and where they lean towards.
Yeah.
They have their stand. But theirs is at least they are a bit professional about it. In our part of the world, it's like, especially, let me use Ghana for instance. Those pro party media houses, they, I dare say, some of them are not so professional. They are not. They churn out lies. And one thing, one research paper I read showed that like people with similar interests tend to like news from like if, for instance, if you use a, I don't want to use any media house as an example, but like if you know, for instance, if you know a pro MPP media house, those who patronize that media house are all members of that party.
Yeah.
The same way, pro NDC, the media house, the consumers are all from the same party, and they tend to believe anything that that media house and house line with thinker.
In theories of the media, we call that selective exposure.
Yes. I remember that was 4 years ago, during the 2016 election. I was at the stadium when Chamamun to me, he had a program to raise funds for the election. And they were the entry was then maybe 100 cities or so. Selling it, buy ticket to enter. And they were using one side of the stadium for the program.
Okay.
I was there and I saw, I mean, the crowd was okay for event like such as it was empty because pictures on the net, on social media, saying that because they were charging and gate fee, people were not at the stadium, that the place was empty. And one particular lady, I know the party she did, shared a picture and I sent the one I took to her. That is what's happening at the stadium. But what she's sharing is not the same. And she told me, because it's part, they were giving those pictures to be shared. When she was not sharing them, they were asking her behind the scene, why is she not posting the picture? So it was something like engineered to portray that this, what they are trying to do was fraud, was a flop. That's not that's not the reality.
Wow. Do you think journalists should be licensed?
No. Journalism should not be, of course, the professionalism should be there, but licensing, no. At least, we should make sure that, like, we respect the ethics of the profession. At least that once we start doing that, at least we will bring some sanity into the profession. That one of my bosses at one of the media houses I went to. Let me use the evening news.
Okay.
It's now a defunct newspaper. My news editor then, he was a PR person.
Okay.
Actually, he did PR, not journalism. But he was one of the best writers I ever met. My own former boss, Baffoe.
Yes, Kwadwo
Baffoe. He did English at Legon.
Yes, he is currently the chairman of the National Media Commission. Yes.
Yeah, before he found himself in the media, he didn't have he wasn't trained like at the first instance as a journalist, but he became a journalist. And he's one of the best we can talk of in the country. So if you want to use the professional training as a license, well, no, I wouldn't subscribe to that. But at least we should be professional. When you start becoming professional, I mean, respecting the ethics of the profession, at least you try to get rid of the chaps in the system. And I think the NMC, and even the media houses themselves, when they start doing that, at least they will bring some sanity into the system.
Have you ever been threatened, or has your life ever been in danger because of some job or your job as a journalist?
Not really. Not really. No. It was one instance. It happened recently. Even then, I went to, would I say, they said it was a security zone, but I wouldn't say the security zone, but it's a facility that belongs to the Ministry of Defense. But
okay.
It's not a security zone. Actually, I was doing a story. Even before I got to the entrance of the gate, I had already taken my pictures. But when I got there, the security guys, I told them I wanted to speak to the one in charge. And I have to go use another gate before I can get to the place. So when I was going to, let me take another picture. I wanted them to see that I was taking pictures. It was very and he said I shouldn't take it. I said, I didn't say anything. I just put my camera away. Then before I got to the junction that I would use to go to the place, I saw the military came in the car, and they said I should get in. So when I got in, the guy asked me, "What am I doing here?" And I said, "I was even coming to your end, the place. I wasn't running away. I was rather coming inside." And they said I should bring my phone. Even before something just pricked me that like maybe they may try to do something. So by the time they got there, I already sent the pictures to where I wanted to save them. And I knew even if they go through and they deleted them, I'll still have them. Then they took me to the facility, kept me there for more than an hour, talking to Accra, the headquarters, what they should do with me. Then before I realized, they said, okay, the Accra said they should let me go. Okay. I didn't resist. You know, at times when they try to show that, oh, I'm a journalist and this, and that's where they will try to maltreat you there because with the security people, you try to resist. They call something minimum force. Even when they are trying to kill you, they call you minimum force. So.
But did you tell them you were from Graphic?
I even showed them my ID card. They even took my ID card. They wanted to cross-check with someone in Accra. And I was there when my boss called me to find out if I was there. And I said yes. Because they just called him to find out if I was there. They said, like, before I come there, I needed to go to Accra, get a security clearance before I can come and talk to them, a whole lot of things. I mean, what this is nothing. I could have even when I had my tablet with me and my phone, and they took my phone. I had my tablet where they kept me. I could have taken more pictures, whatever I wanted, but they didn't know what I had in my bag. They didn't know. They only took my phone.
Did that experience shake you? Were you scared?
Maybe because of my interaction with most of them. No, not really, because I knew, of course, I wasn't going to do anything that would make them get physical with me. Yes, so no, not really. I wasn't really scared per se. I wasn't really scared.
Has there been a time? Okay, please go ahead. Continue.
I've had an encounter with a gendarme on the Togo border, so he made me.
They are much more impatient.
It was a serious one. So at least I learned my lessons from there. So.
Has there been a time, or was there a time that you were approached that, okay, so this story you are doing, this one is for you? Just take it, compromise the details of the story, or just trash the story, forget about it. Has there been any such approach?
There was, yes, I mean, one incident like that. It was about an MP. You know, I had worked with Ghanaian Times before joining Graphic. I was then reporting from Parliament, and there was one of the MPs had a problem in his constituency. It was getting to the primaries. You know, as usual, those in power, when like the sitting MPs, they try to prevent the system to let them retain their seats. And he was doing similar thing. So the other party had a press conference. We were there when I covered it. And of course, I wanted his side of the story. When I called him, he told me he wasn't going to talk to me. Then some few minutes later, he made a colleague in another media house who I knew was his age, who was doing his press, like his media liaison for him. And a guy called me that this is what his boss said, that like, they want me to drop the story. I just listened to them and I did the story. The story came. And the following day, I went to the parliament.
How much were they promising you if you had dropped the story?
As a matter of fact, I don't remember. But of course, they said they were going to give the how much. I don't remember. I don't remember.
You mean a colleague journalist was actually the one who approached you on behalf of a politician, seeking to bribe you to compromise your story?
Well, yes. In summary, that's what happened. So when I went to Parliament and I saw, he didn't know me, but me because of he's a public figure. So, and I greeted him and I introduced myself to him. He said if I had known that I was the one, he wouldn't even have shook my hand.
You had become an enemy, even though he didn't know you.
Well, but like one thing I realize is when it's in their favor, you are their friend. When it's not in their favor, they'll try to make you look like you are the firstborn of Satan. Now, of course, always some of us are used to it, so we know how to deal with them.
Is that the only instance or incident where you had such an approach to compromise something you were doing, or there are other instances?
Most of them, they don't really come out like plainly like that. They try to, cover it to. Of course, these are things we encounter day in, day out.
Wow.
Maybe I should tell you this. There was an incident that happened when I was started this journalism work. Way back when I was to the evening news. A small strike happened at then Accra Poly. The two guys, they were going on strike. They had a small demonstration on the campus. So my boss asked me to go and find out exactly what was happening. I saw them and I spoke to them. They told me well their issues were, and I went to see the rector then. The only name I remember is Ameya, Dr. Ameya. Our interview lasted for like 5 minutes, but I ended up spending the rest of the day there. The man asked me to transcribe everything that I wrote. In journalism, apart from listening, you take some notes.
Yeah.
So mostly, I just put down points. I don't write everything, and I hardly use recorders because it takes a lot of. Though it's very good, but like, it's time consuming. The man said I should transcribe everything that I wrote. The secretary to type for him to countersign that yes, this really was transcribed at the interview. His reason was, he said a week earlier, he built the current administration block. He said at that time, he spent 600,000. Yes, 600,000. But then it was quite a big money. But one paper reported 6 million as the cost of the building. He said the following day, the then BNI, now NID, were at his office to find out exactly how much was spent on the project. And another reason was that it was a get fund project.
Yeah.
Because they were delaying, he used his IGF to complete it. So the assumption was that before he was in Accra, he was getting favors from the get fund, whilst other regions were not benefiting from the same. And one thing he told me was that in this world, whatever you do, whether good or bad, you'll be stepping on toes. And if you don't pay for it, surely somebody from your family will pay for it. That has always been my guiding principle. My conscience is always that what guides me in my profession.
Wow. Would you encourage a relative or a child or any mentee that approaches you and tells you, oh, I want to go into journalism? Would you encourage that person to take to journalism?
I wouldn't stop you, but what I will advise you to do would be to not to go to journalism school, but have another profession, and maybe add the communication aspect as a second one. It makes you a better reporter. It makes you an expert in your field. But maybe you can do accounting and add the journalism, and in the financial, in business news, you'll be an expert in that sector. I guess you do raw journalism at first. I wouldn't advise that.
What stands out as your golden memory in this profession? most exciting time or the highest moment in your profession?
Highest moment, highest moment. We can't find out. I'm still trying to go back into my memory and find out. There have been things that felt okay. These two, there might be minute incidents, but like for me, they stood out. I helped a lady who had a brain tumor.
Okay.
Sorry that I did. Small sorry that I did for her to appeal for funds for her. And all students for a school bought the entire expense for her to travel to India to have the surgery. And the other one wasn't linked to my work per se, but like I used my cycle to raise funds for the lady. I don't know if you heard of the story. She had a problem with the husband, and what the guy intended to kill her. The man hacked the head, used the axe to the. So when she was brought to Confanoche, they needed money for the surgery, then those things. Initially, through my friends and few colleagues, I got some 2,000 plus. Then after the surgery, she had over 5,000 balance, like to pay back to the company, to the hospital. And I put it on my also page, like I want to raise this fund for this lady. Then one guy just said, okay, I'll take care of it. He gave me 5,000, and just like that.
That's impact.
Yeah. And I mean, those incidents stand out for me.
Wow. Is there anything that happened to you in journalism that represents your lowest moment? Something you wish, if you had the opportunity, you will never repeat?
Yeah. And it saddens my heart that like your own boss who use you to achieve as human being in one of the private media houses. The thing was my boss' wife was a teacher, and he wanted the lady to be at a certain position because somebody there has been transferred to another place, and the wife was being sent to that position. But the lady had a very good relationship with the board chair of the company. And the issue was that the lady had lost her husband, and the husband's family were fighting her over the man's property. So she explained to the board chair, okay, they are all chairman, so the board chair was the lady. She explained to the woman that this is the situation, so if she takes up the transfer, she and the children may end up losing the house, the man's property. So the woman more or less like overturned the transfer. But my boss made it look like what they told me was that because that particular lady was doing like the donkey work for the woman to take back and those things. She didn't want her to leave. Well, they sent a thing like not a petition, but like a consent to us. I didn't even know the person concerned was my boss. So I called the lady, a very respectable lady. I don't want to say her name. I mean, somebody who has made a name for herself.
Yeah.
And I called her, and she explained to me the reason why she didn't want the woman to go. as I've said, she explained. She even gave me the background to the story why she has more or less overturned the transfer. Of course, your boss has asked you to do a story, so I did a story and I put everything in it as she said. I had part whatever she told me, I put in the story, and the story was published. And the woman was really hurt, so she took us to an MC. And luckily for me, my boss was the one attending the meetings. Then the last when they were going to do the ruling, he asked me to join him. But I got there late. I got there when they were leaving. Luckily for me, I didn't introduce myself too late. Then NMC said the story we did was in bad taste, especially when the woman denied the story, all the allegations, and explained why she did that. She shouldn't have written the story. So they asked us to apologize and retry the story. And when we went back to the office and we told our boss what happened, so actually what they wanted to do was for people to know that this is what is happening. So whether we retract it or not, the impact has done. They've done what they wanted to do. Wow.
That means you were used like a pawn in the chess game.
It's one thing that I don't know, that day, that was my lowest thing.
Wow.
So we use it like that. No, I mean, not anybody but your boss.
Wow.
One thing about me is, because that this particular media house that I was talking, it's a private media house, so we're not that big and we do things also. But me and my deputy editor, the guy, you can give him just a sentence. He can write 2 pages long story for you. Very, very good. But some words he use. At one time, I wrote a story and he edited the story. And how he did it, I told him to take my name off the story if he wants to publish. Because I wouldn't want, if he's going to go like that, he should take my name off it.
That is like he rewrote the whole thing for you.
What I did, the story I wrote wasn't what he was publishing. And it's like he had turned everything upside down. And I remember there was this politician, he was then the youngest MP in Parliament. Whatever I wrote was what he said, but just the headline that they gave the story. The guy was so mad. Before I got to the office, I heard he had been there looking for me. So since that, anytime I want to interview him, he say, I want you to record it so that I'm saying something different, then I want you to play it back.
That's right. Let me pull the brakes here.
Okay.
Thank you a lot for this conversation.
Thank you, boss.
This has been PENSDOWN, and today I have had the company of one of my senior colleagues, Kwadwo Baffoe Donkor. He works with Ghana's biggest selling newspaper, the Graphic Communications Group. I'm not talking about the daily graphic, I mean the group itself, because from where he sits, if it's entertainment, it's going to graphic showbiz. If it's sports, it's going to graphic sports. If it's about basic schools and their activities, going to junior graphic. If it is something about society and lifestyle, there is the Mirror. And if it's news, politics, education, whatever, then the daily graphic takes it up. So he has a number of platforms on which he expresses himself, or he's able to write for through the group he works for. He's one of the anchors in the Ashanti region, serving as a correspondent for the Graphic Communications Group. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you, boss. Thank you for listening. Bye.
This has been PENSDOWN. We'll be back next time with another edition, and another colleague will be here where we'll talk their journalism journey. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.